Conscious collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, change makers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, y'all? This is Emily.
And I'm Lisa, and we are the Conscious Collaboration.
Yes, we is.
And this is not our first rodeo.
No, it's like our 181st.
Yes, 181st is so wild.
Crazy.
I think we're kind of like pros now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone, I've getting a couple inquiries in the inbox about, first time podcasts and how do you find your guests and how do you be guests on other podcasts. And I think that people are kind of like, okay, you've been around for a while. And I'm like, well, you know what? Just show up and
be real.
Just show up and be real. And also drink lots of coffee and matcha and cacao.
Yes. Keep a giant coffee and an equally giant water. And that also has the benefit of helping to limit your episode times because somebody's going to have to pee.
Yeah. All the time. That's right. So yeah, everybody really loved our last episode about the snakeskin. Do you remember that?
I do now that you reminded me. I was like, what did we talk about? I blacked out.
What did we talk about?
Yeah, I do.
That really resonated with so many. And I think that just, a testament to what we do is these things kind of just come out of us organically.
Yeah.
And it's so on point. But every single conversation I had after we had our session in the Conscious Collaboration was like, oh my gosh, that just blew my mind how accurate and how much that helped me and supported me. And also just having that shared collective understanding. It was everyone was like, yeah, it does kind of feel like a shedding of skin and a shedding of self. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but, on the other side of that is expansion and that forward momentum. I was yesterday on a call with the International Feng Shui Guild, and we were talking about October and the veil being very thin. Mm-hmm. And our favorite topic this time of month is talking about ghost stories and space clearings. And that's October. Generally, people come to us a lot for the space clearings and the blessings. It's like a big, we're not marketing for that, but it's something, it seems to be people are like, okay, it's a time for a reset. It's a time for setting intentions again. And people really seem to be just, having more dreams and, having that connection with unseen. So, I don't know.
Yeah, you can definitely sense it.
Yeah. The lighting changing for us and everything. So I thought we could kind of just continue in that vein of checking in with the collective and having a little chit chat and see where it takes us organically. And
yeah, especially, with by far the biggest theme of just our last handful of episodes being major change. I think tapping into that energy each week is going to be really beneficial for us to kind of keep up with the change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I know we were talking about the fire horse energy coming into the next year. And I heard also on the call in the UK, they call that the crimson horse. I thought that sounded really fancy. But UK...
It reminds me of Alabama Crimson Tide. And so as a LSU fan, I don't know, that's my...
Right.
That's my unique trigger. I won't project that onto everybody else, but that's
fire horse. It is.
That's where my
So we'll do a check-in on the collective energy while everybody sets their intentions and what we can do coming out of the energy to continue evolving. And woo, that one just came right on out.
Somebody say fire horse.
Continue evolving.
And oh, I could say yeehaw there, and it actually kind of fits, right?
Yes.
Fire cowgirl.
Yes. Get more comfortable with our new snakeskin. Okay, so the energy around us right now is the energy of cutting through. Ooh. Hexagram 21. That makes a lot of sense.
Jellyfish vibes, though.
It's got what? Jellyfish?
Jellyfish vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, jellyfish vibes. Cutting through. That's so weird because jellyfish don't really cut.
No.
I mean, I see little lightning strikes in the imagery.
Mm-hmm.
But it does kind of look like, it also kind of looks like a snake.
Like a snake. I'm a snake.
I can't even say that. It's fire above and thunder below. So I guess maybe there's like nebulous clouds. And then moving forward, talking about the energy of splitting apart.
Oh.
And yeah, so I already feel like what is coming through in here. I don't know if you have any intuitive.
Cutting and splitting.
Yeah, cutting and splitting. But I mean, we were just talking about shedding our skin
and shedding, cutting, and splitting. Boy,
yeah,
sounds violent. Change can be violent feeling, I guess.
The I Ching is very dramatic and always sounds more ominous than what it is. But still, there's quite a few change lines in our energy. Midheaven, inner self. So we're still very much in the midst of it. I'm feeling so much more optimistic. Just trying to, I think there's just such a gift in being able to separate ourselves from our ego and look at things from like a bigger reasoning, whatever that may be. I know a lot of people do this, even with the Bible, they'll crack open the Bible and like find a verse like randomly. It doesn't matter, but whatever someone's practice can be like that can help you through these really, where we used to say when I was waiting tables in the weeds type of, like chaotic circumstances. So in cutting through, it calls for confronting a thorny situation and cutting through it. Somehow the way to harmony and unity is blocked or frustrated, perhaps by a tangle of deceit or corruption. And also, I think I'm also feeling like getting in our own way, as we're shaking off our old skin, being like, oh, but I really want to get back into the way things were. It's saying don't be.
I think that ego bit was like the key already. I don't want to cut you off before you finish that thought, but I want to come back to that for sure.
No, do it.
Well, I just think that, you said it, a lot of it is when you get into the thorniness of it, a lot of it, so much of it, probably most of it is self-imposed. And then if you peel back that layer even further, usually this self-imposed judgment or, anxiety attachments, stories we're telling about the situation that make it feel thorny are some level of ego coming from a place of ego. And that's not to say that you're bad. We all have that, but I think that there's a really good case to make for just pausing in the middle of the thorniness and doing that check-in of okay, why does this feel so rough right now? Is it what are the stories I'm telling? And is this coming from a place of ego? I'm worried about what it would look like, for example, to shed this skin, or that I would be perceived as XYZ to shed this, current skin that is clearly not working? Or is this coming from a place of let's unpack that a little bit. I think that's a really great exercise. Just to stop and ask, and ask yourself that question in the midst of. I'm going to just keep using that thorniness word.
Yeah, thorniness is a good word. And like related, unrelated. I heard a really cool tip for when you're dealing with that thorniness and you're in the weeds, or like you're feeling a lot of anxiety about something that you're experiencing. It's like to shock yourself out of to shock your senses. So one tip was like to eat sour candy
in the face. Get it together. Get a hold of yourself.
Well, you don't maybe need. I mean, but you could. I will not get in freezing cold water, but you could get in freezing cold water.
Well, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, that's a great way to instantaneously remove your ego.
Yeah. Or like the sour candy thing is another thing, and it's recommended for people as a tip. It came from.
There's more sugar in that, so.
Candy, I don't eat sour candy, but I understand the concept of it is like it makes all of your like senses focus on something else, like shocking. I mean,
so you spike your blood sugar and then it drops and then you have anxiety all over again. So I don't know. I get it, but I wouldn't recommend that tactic.
It was somebody that had ADHD that was doing that. It's like a stim for people with ADHD, something like that. Or like, I mean, it could be playing with a fidget toy or whatever, but it says, don't be afraid to shake things up. The ability to take corrective measures when they are needed is an essential trait of leadership. Okay. It's talking about, also like that's on a personal level, as we're stepping into this understanding that we've just shed some snakeskin and we're leaving it behind. But also take into consideration on a larger scale, it says, be careful to keep records and do not hesitate to go public with the truth where there are issues of justice at stake. So that's another on a larger scale. When it talks about the collective, it says, be sure to carefully consider all of the circumstances, that overhead view, forgive, but don't forget, at least not until the person has made reparation for mistakes. Decisiveness with integrity will bring good fortune. So whatever that means for the situation at hand, my intentions are for my own personal life, but it could be different for everybody else. So there is a little bit going on interpersonally to keep in mind. It says, when facing great obstacles or powerful adversaries, do not overreach your authority and never outstrip your resources. Move ahead with caution and strengthen your resolve. Persevering through difficult situations brings good fortune in the end. When biting through a tough nut, sharp teeth may be required. I guess that's cutting through. But cutting through.
Careful there.
Yeah. Very sensitive topic there. And a first offense is not a case for condemnation and stiff punishment, but some form of corrective action may be needed in order to prevent further transgressions. And this can apply, I mean, this is on your inner self too. If you have been wronged, confront the matter openly, but without hostility. So you could be at conflict with yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself also.
Yeah. It reminds me too of like, because, how just the conversation around red flags is like all the rage now, and especially when it pertains to interpersonal relationships. And, so it's gotten a lot towards the like, just cut them off. Just cut them off. Yeah. Like the second you see a red flag, just cut them off. But it's like, hold on, slow your roll. There may be a select few situations in which that is appropriate, but the vast majority of the time, and this could apply to just yourself too, it's like you need to have the discussion first. It needs to be, brought to attention and addressed before you just go making decisions based off of a perceived red flag. However,
I will be the first to admit that sometimes I'm the red flag.
yeah, well, of course. I mean, we all have it, but it's just, it's a flag. It's a warrant for further.
Yeah, it's like
exploration,
penalty. Yeah, go stand back behind the line.
maybe, right? It just like it means okay. Let's see what's going on here.
Yeah.
And, if it's with another person, then you at least make them aware of it, and if appropriate, give the opportunity to correct the issue, and then go from there.
Yeah. And sometimes that means admitting where your actions or words could be better.
Yeah, maybe you didn't, communicate something prior to that
yes,
kind of led up to that. It doesn't when you apply that to yourself. But yeah, I think that
unless you're Gemini, it takes two. When you're Gemini, 2 or 3.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you remember a couple of years ago we did that episode on red flags?
We did the red flags episode. Wasn't that still one of the most popularist ones?
It was one of the popularist ones. Well, I just got reminded of it. It's the anniversary of that episode, I think. I just, yeah.
Is that why I was thinking of it?
Yeah, I think so. The graphic just came up for me on social media, when it makes those little, the anniversary of when something. So that must have been a big one for us, but could be resurfacing. So this splitting apart energy moving forward is the energy of mountain above and earth below. And
we got a couple of red flags on that card, don't we?
Yeah. We do. There's some red in there cutting through the blue mountains. So mountains, they move very slowly. There's a lot happening below mountains. I mean, this looks like it could be like lava moving below the earth there, but mountains, they reshape, they move very, 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 very slowly, but they do. Splitting apart is talking about, as we move forward, be aware that things are not the way they seem. Reality appears to be a hall of mirrors. Intrigues are multiplying like summer flies. And there are rumors of discontent. It is a time of illusion, disintegration, distrust, and deception. So when you find yourself trapped in this hall of mirrors, it becomes necessary to retrace your steps. Return to the familiar. Take solace in what is firm and secure. There is no blame in holding back. Indeed, it is your responsibility to keep your strength intact for the period of revival that follows this period of disintegration, as surely as the dawn follows the night. So discretion is a better part of valor, and good timing is critical. Learn to choose the proper moments for action, thereby avoiding futile efforts. Pay attention to changes that signal it's a time to retreat. Still a little bit of snaky energy here, knowing that after this time period is going to be flourishing. It's like, I guess when your skin is removed, you're kind of vulnerable too.
Well, and the bit about the flies, even though that was gross, and there was something about disintegrating. So I think that really goes right along with the phases, of what because then there's going to be a time where it's kind of like gross because the old, what you just shed has to call to the mycelium and recycled and transmuted back into the earth, and that can be kind of icky.
Decay. Yeah. Icky. It talks about in the realm of personal relations, discovering illusion can be painful and confusing. During a period such as this, it is wise to avoid undertaking bold new moves. It is especially important not to jump to conclusions when you sense that nothing is quite as it seems. So it's still not sunshine and rainbows and puppy dogs in this, the splitting apart. I get the feeling that everybody is kind of feeling like they don't trust like these new places that we're going and that we're headed in this.
Well, the unknown is scary, but
yeah, in the period of revolution. So if we look at, so looking at the ruling lines in this, that's a lot. I don't even want to read that, so I'm just going to summarize it.
TLDR.
Yeah, I mean, so I think if we're all in the same place collectively, how we're all showing up and we're shedding and transforming, and this is supposed to be like the early stages of Age of Aquarius and everything changing.
Uranus and Gemini is also big change energy.
Yeah, you're right. There is a lot of that going on. I mean, it's a time period that we haven't seen in any of our lifetimes. I think, there's going to be people that in times of this uncertainty that are maybe, not intentionally, but not people that we can rely on.
Yeah.
So, sticking our necks out there and learning when we can be vulnerable and when we have to pull back. Because it is important to still make those connections through this. It's a time of collaboration, but also knowing when to pull back. So it's not just a splitting apart of ourselves from where we used to be or where we came from or where we're headed. It's also a splitting apart in society and cultural norms, and that's going to feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot bigger. So it was a little bit more ominous than what I was hoping, because usually it pulls through with something a little bit more positive. It does sound like on the other side of this is going to be that strong period of momentum and self-confidence.
Well, that's exactly right. It's like the darkest night comes just before the dawn. And like, that's what this season is for. That's what this energy is designed for. The shedding of the skin, the thinning of the veil, the, closeness to shadow aspects of self and the world that are uncomfortable and not the fun part of growth and evolution and revolution, but highly necessary. We can't access the new and the next level without this space.
I also am picking up on, like, of course, I was looking at this through like a very small level for my own personal life, but in times of change, and we know, like, we're living in Tampa Bay, which is like one of the highest rates of inflation in the nation here in the US. I don't know, if there is that similar experience across the world, but in times like that, evaluate people's motives. Also, because when people feel lack or they are scared, there's going to be some shadiness that happens. So, it also talks about the story, and I don't know the story off the top of my head, like what the whole, I'd have to Google it to remember. It's been deleted. but the energy is like Alexander the Great cutting the Gordian knot. Do you know that story?
I don't.
Taking decisive action, and you will meet with good fortune, even your destiny. So, we are going to have to shake things up a bit by being very decisive, and that's not really comfortable for people to do if it's not already a part of the way that you're living. And being really meticulous about cutting this knot. It sounds like, destiny is something to look forward to, which is great.
You know what image that just brought up for me was Titanic, the movie. And Rose has to use the hatchet or whatever to cut the handcuffs off of Leonardo DiCaprio. And she's totally not ready to do it. But she just, I don't know that I'd recommend closing your eyes, but she just closes her eyes and takes decisive action. And at least in the movie it worked.
Yeah, she's like, good luck to you. Had made a decisive action.
She could have brought that energy maybe into letting him get on the door with her, but
yeah,
they made it past that part at least.
She had, it was fun while it lasted.
It's like, sorry, this door is only large enough for one.
Right.
Never let go though, Jack.
Right. Oh, Jack, sink or swim. Gordian knot, according to AI, it's a knot that he could not find the end to untie it, fulfilling the prophecy that whoever untied it would rule all of Asia by taking a bold and decisive action. Instead of spending time trying to solve an impossible problem in the traditional way, he sliced the knot in half with a sword. And that becomes a metaphor for solving a complex problem with a direct and bold solution. So, seems pretty obvious to me, but if it's for, thousands of years, people are working at untying a knot, they're not thinking about cutting it. It could be something very simple that could make everything so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. Yeah, that's like, looking at that, even on like a business level, there are things and processes that have always been done a certain way, and they're difficult, and it causes a lot of frustration. But there's probably a direct and very simple way to cut through that.
Mm-hmm.
That's very accessible. So those are the types of things I would suggest, and that could apply also to relationships as well too.
Yeah.
Look for that direct,
shit or get off the spot too,
Yeah, exactly. So much. Thanks, AI, for that. That wasn't Choopy though. That was Gemini. Trusty Gemini. So, what are you taking away from today's I Ching check-in to put you on the spot?
Just embrace the ick.
Embrace the ick.
It is unpleasant but necessary for the next level.
Oh, you're referencing the part about the flies, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just a really great representation of the process and of the timeline we're talking about when we started the snakeskin conversation last week.
The snakeskin allegory, yeah.
That's just where we are.
I might dare to say even admire the ick because it serves a greater purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah. I think
because death death and rebirth are, they're like that infinity knot, like that it's forever a cycle. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed. So the ick is just a necessary part of the transformation. And that is beautiful. That is something to admire.
Yeah.
So death of old ideas, death of a body, death of the ego, like whatever it is.
Or that splitting apart of ourselves.
There's parts that are like, I don't wanna.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. Yeah. I mean, shedding of the skin is really a rebirth into a new self and a splitting apart of self. Being a little bit cautious too, like we are still snakes in this energy. So if you need to like go within, you don't need to necessarily charge full speed ahead. Have a little bit of decisive awareness about where you're inserting yourself before striking. I think what you're saying too, I did just hear a speaker, I probably shared it with you on Instagram, but she was talking about like the darkness, don't think of the darkness as being lost, but the darkness is that you might experience or be feeling is actually like, think of it as like being in a womb, and it's like a rebirth is ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was, that reminded me of her speech when you were saying that. Yeah, cool. Well, it was good to see you as always.
Yeah, back at you.
Well, I'm kind of like a little bit lost for words, but I think we should take it inside of the conscious collaboration collective inside of our closed and private Facebook group and drop some conversation topics in there that maybe people can feed into. I think this is going to be a great allegory for what we're experiencing. And I can't wait to see how it plays out. I mean, according to the astrologists that I'm following, June is supposed to be really significant next year. So I want to like put a timestamp on that and remember what's happening now and then what's happening in June.
Okay.
So that we look back and be like, remember that really like darkness, snakeskin feeling, and now we're fully in that fire horse energy. So, well,
it is documented now.
Documented. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting us for these 181 episodes, sharing with your friends. And collaborating with us. We will talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.